we are 1 minute away from witnessing the second semi-final of this mixed division championship here in Brampton, Ontario. This second semi-final will feature two teams from Ontario. On the dark jerseys on your left hand side, Force will battle against the white jerseys. Soup. So two teams from Ontario. My name is Etienne Fournier. I will have the great privilege of co-hosting this webcast with Alicia Racine. How are you, Alicia?
I'm very good. How are you?
Could not be better. Beautiful weather here in Brampton, Ontario. A slight wind over the field, the turf here in Brampton. Amazing facilities provided by the Brampton City, which we are very thankful for. A great partners in the success of CUC 2019 Mix and Master Mix. So we've witnessed earlier on this afternoon the first semi-final featuring a Quebec battle, featuring a Lab from Montreal against Battle from Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu. Lab has took over the semi-final 15-8, confirming their spot in tomorrow's final, which will also be webcast. So pick call to kick off this first point. Force on the dark jerseys on the receiving end of Soup pulling in the white jerseys.
Alrighty, you could just tell the speed coming out of the back of the stack there.
Absolutely. Force going long. Disc is floating. It will be battle, but Force landing with the disc. Number 23 very quickly feeding her teammates. So it's a first point of Force early in this first half.
The excitement coming from the sidelines. Force is coming off a huge win and a huge upset on their previous game. So they're bringing the energy right up and starting this game, and that was a perfect point to start the game for them.
So number 23, Brandon Lusty, winning this vertical battle against a player, a defender, significantly taller than him, James Lewis, number 35, but still great timing and lifting up to land with the disc. Only had to feed his teammate for the first point of the dark jerseys, securing their hold of their first O-line. Soup on the receiving end of the second point of this second semi-final.
A bit of a smaller roster than what Force has. However, Soup is also coming in as they've been winning their games, and I think they have some talent on their team as well. So that'll give a challenge to Force to see what they can do in terms of defense.
So Soup earned their spot in the semi-final after winning over Union earlier today, while Force earned their spot with an upset win in Universal Point against another Ontario team, Chaos. Kinley Guy feeding his teammate. Great disc movement by Soup. Resetting to 77, Karen Chan Lim. Number 8, Keelan Wei, going around his mark. Soup waiting for some option. Keelan Wei going to get the swing pass. Going break side, feeding O'Donnell. O'Donnell right in the middle to Chen Lim. There was some bumping on the mark. Foul was called. No contest. Stall will get back at 0 with 6 yards off the end zone. Chen Lim going down, kneeling in order to make that pass a break one and successfully reach for her teammate, making this game tied to 1 early in the first half.
Their patience was definitely demonstrated in that last point. The handler movement was actually very nice. Between G and Chan, they were able just to move the disc very nicely, and they had a lot of in-cuts coming from their cutters. That was well orchestrated.
I just love the way Chan Lee just kneeled to get that break flick around her mark. She's obviously not the tallest player on the field, not the tallest woman, but the way she gets her agility, take advantage of her agility here. So great display of athleticism and disc skills. So the two teams have kept hold on their O possession, exchanging points so far. Soup will be hunting for the first break point of their team and of this semi-final that was just kicked off here in Brampton, Ontario. Beautiful weather. The wind seems to have just died down. A very slight wind. Beautiful sunny day here in Ontario. Zone defense by Soup. Trying to, nice bid here. Number 81, he was just a little inches shy of blocking that disc. Armstrong, number 81. In the meantime, Force. Nice layout! Catch by the Force player. Wow! He went horizontal to save that disc. Amazing. Force still in control. Disc is in the space. It will be battle, but it's confirmed. Force scoring their second point of this game, keeping hold of their O-line. It's a 2-1 for Force.
What an amazing bid. Like I've said before, and I said in the previous cast, it's just unreal to see that done in Frisbee. That was impressive. It's hard to do that. The disc was flying in at an angle as well. He was further away from the disc, but like you said, that horizontal, the mechanics was just insane. And then they were able to score. So for Force, again, that's bringing that energy up. I think this is what I'm already seeing. We're already just 2 points in, and they're able to bring that energy. That
Absolutely. As you very well mentioned, like Force seems to have a very engaged sideline so far, while Soup seems to be a little more quieter. Maybe they're just part of the personality of their team. You know, it depends. But still, I believe we all love a very, very cheering and engaged sideline that just makes sure they make themselves heard when there's a great point score or great layout or whatever.
And like I mentioned earlier, too, Force is much more deeper in terms of players on their team. They have a lot of players.
Great pull by Force, crossing over 70 yards long. Lindquist with the disc, going break side, feeding Keelan away, going in the middle, finding number 43. So still possession for Soup, going long. It's floating, but it's blocked by number 69, Mark Tren, who initiated that point by a great pull. Tren being marked by number 20, Lindquist, who is well known for having played for Goat from Toronto for many years. Switched to mixed division for 2019 season. Number 26, Jennifer Lamb now with the disc. But there was a call on the play. I believe it's a travel call. Resolution is it's going back one pass. So still, Force holding the disc. Resetting to Tran. Tran going long. It's floating. The target is number 40. There's a ton of white jerseys in there. Tons of pressure from Kinley G. I think number 43 or number 40. Not sure what's his number like, but he claims that he was blocked by Kinley G.
And it sounds like the fans are not agreeing with that call.
That's the fan perspective. Let's see what will be the resolution. So 3 observers discussing right now. 2 of them were pretty close to the action, but seen still. So let's see if they will reach out for the observers to resolute this foul call. They were battling for the space, obviously.
Yep. The disc did float because the wind picked up a bit, so that could have changed the positioning.
So no foul. So it will be a turnover. So Soup will take the disc back into play. Interesting comment yesterday by Brittany Dos Santos, who has an extended experience of World Ultimate Competition, and she was sharing how the interpretation of the foul when you play in Europe versus in North America. Europe is a little more, I'd say, sensitive to the contact, while North America we are allowing a little more contact on the field. And she mentioned if it's like the Colombian or more closer to what North American style of playing in regards of contact. Keelan away with the disc, faking back and long, holding it back, looking for a reset, finds G, his teammate. He used to be on Phoenix from Ottawa. Long pass by G, and it's caught by number 13 and confirmed by the observers. So Soup tying this game to 2 early in this first half. What a great pass by Guy.
What a great pass by G. He has done that now a couple of times. 2 of the times they've been able to convert and get a point. I think Forest defense are really going to have to watch out for those deep throws in the end zone.
So G has done a very well executed long pass, but most of the credit goes to number 13, Erin Daly, who got open on that, where she was able to easily catch that disc. But for every free long cut, there's a great acceleration or a great change of direction. So Daly did it very well in order to get open.
She definitely used her speed, and I think her opponent may have just gotten a bit lost on that possession because she seemed to be pretty close and wide open in the end zone.
We had the opportunity to webcast a game featuring Soup on Thursday, and Daly had an amazing game, getting involved in many aspects of the game, not only like getting some blocks, but also freeing herself either inside or long, offering herself as a target for the handlers. Nice cuts from the back, being shut down by Soup defense. Force going around the mark. Number 25, unfortunately, Caitlin Lusty, the captain of Force, could not handle that pass.
Just an unfortunate drop there on the open side.
Joel Bellavance with the disc. Resetting. Now swinging, finding Bellavance again, feeding Lewis in the end zone. Waiting for confirmation by the observers. It is confirmed. Number 35 scoring a 3rd point for Soup. First break point of this game. Soup leading 3-2.
I think for both sides, maybe just a bit more tightening up on our defense. There's been a few possessions on both ends that they've been pretty open in the end zone. And to keep a game pretty close, even though it's a point, some defense puts some pressure on the handlers and the cutters to really work for their space.
To your point, Alicia, like Bellavance was totally by himself on the swing path, and Lewis just ran, just offering himself as a target, and he was by himself. So 2 players all alone. And Soup, let's give the credit to Soup, were able to punish Force for this lack of tight defense. I'm sure that Force will address that in a very near future in order to stay in the course of the semi-final division mixed here in Brampton, Ontario, CUC 2019. My name is Etienne Fournier. I'm with Alicia Racine, sharing this webcast with you wherever you are, whatever you do. Thanks for being with us on this great Saturday afternoon here in Brampton. Beautiful weather. Number 4 with the disc, Bailey Davis. Finding number 9, Tyler Sadler. Oh, great tipping by number 13, her again, Erin Daly. We mentioned her, how she can have an impact on defense and on offense, where here's what kind of impact she can have on defense, providing her team another opportunity to break. Number 11 going reset. Disc is in the air. It's Blady, but it's captured by number 11. And the point is confirmed. Subs through Joël Bellavance takes a 4-2 lead early in this first half of this semi-final mixed division Canadian Championship 2019 in Brampton, Ontario.
And we saw some really great defense to convert into the end zone. And obviously, even though it was a nice pass on that open side, he still had to jump pretty high. So, in itself, that's good on them for scoring. And keeping up the momentum. You saw the Force energy, and I think it looks maybe like a timeout over here by Force. Maybe that's a good time for it.
Trailing by 2 points early in this first half, while Soup has scored the last 3 points. So something you want to stop, and you need to stop now. So let's start that stoppage by taking a timeout. Say, hey, no panic here, but let's put it together, and we need to put it together right now. This is semi-final Canadian Championship, mixed division.
There's this semi-final, that's right. Like we said, it's this is the show. This is right here where it happens. All the hard work that you've put in all season, it goes to show right here. The energy, the time, the travel. It's difficult on our bodies to maintain all of that. So lay it out on the line. This is it.
There's no tomorrow. You need to focus on today's game.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
exactly.
well, tomorrow you will fight for a bronze medal, which is still very, very meaningful. But
Yes.
still, you're not here for a bronze medal. You're here to compete for the goal. And when you're in the semi-final, you're very, very close to it, but still so far away. That's what makes this game so exciting. So Force on the receiving end. Soup serving. Serving the soup.
Serving.
Okay, I said it.
You said it? You
It's
said
been
it.
said, so let's never repeat it again, please.
What kind of soup?
Well, whatever, the one you like.
Mm,
Chicken and noodle is a classic
chicken
one,
noodle.
of course,
Tomato with grilled cheese. That's pretty good too.
with a nice glass of chocolate milk.
Ooh.
Making me hungry, but in the meantime, soup pulling with a flick. Great angle, rolling disc. Stopped by Force captain, number 25, Caitlin Lusty. Floating disc, zone defense by Soup. 26, Jennifer Lamb, feeding her teammate, number 7, Daniel Nguyen. Great disc movement now. Great momentum by Force. Transition from zone defense to person defense. Reaching out to Daniel Nguyen on support. Floating hammer. Well blocked by number 35, Lewis. Probably the tallest guy on the field today. So another break opportunity by Soup.
That was definitely a good work up the field by Force. That cross hammer pass was perfect to get the flow moving. Unfortunately, Soup was there to defend it in the end zone.
Oddly, you usually use that hammer throw to get rid of the zone, but now they were away from that zone defense, and still Soup feeding Lewis in the red zone. 4 yards away from another break point. Lewis breaking the mark, feeding his teammate for Soup's 5th point. It's now a 3-point game. Soup leading 5-3 with their 4th point in a row.
And the sideline is ignited. We saw a bit of a quieter side. Maybe that was the strategical side of what Soup was doing. You see them running on the field, celebrating that point, especially a big point in this game, just to get the game started. Now it's a 5-2 lead for Soup.
Number 23, Andrew Leo, who received that great under backhand pass by number 35, Lewis. So Lewis making the D on his own goal line and running after that for a long, catching the disc a few yards away from the scoring end zone, and then very cleanly feed his teammate Leo to give his team a 5-2 lead. And this second semi-final here, Canadian Championship, Force putting some fresh legs on the field. They need legs, they need energy in order to stay in the course of this semi-final.
Gotta hear that sideline too, that sideline energy we talked about earlier. That might also help engage some better flow on the field and bring confidence into the people that are playing.
How important is that sideline, not only from an energy standpoint, but talking to your players on the field on defense or on offense. Mainly on defense, I think it's so important if you can focus your two eyes on the player you're defending, and if you have some feedback from your player, say, hey, be careful, or you're the next one, or look out, or broken, or giving some advice to help your defense. Nice around pass. There was a pick call, I believe. So we received some great feedback from for the webcast, for the hosting we're doing. So thanks everybody for your feedback. If you have any critics, also feel free to do them. As long as they're constructive, of course, we're very open to any feedback. Merci Dominique Saint-Jacques pour tes commentaires un peu plus tôt sur les joueurs qui boitent ou qui boitent. Merci beaucoup. Turnover, Force. I think it's Robertson who caught that disc. Floating in the air, he was just passing by and very well read it. Number 30. Yeah, Jesse Robertson, one of the captain of Force. Great disc movement. Lots of pressure from Soup. Disc is floating. Oh, nice reading my win. That was very, very short. In the red zone, Force looking to score their 3rd point. Nice high release backhand, breaking the mark. Point is confirmed. Yes, advisor's hands being held up in the air. That's Force's 3rd point, closing the gap to only 2. About halfway in this first half of the semi-final Canadian Ultimate Championship 2019, Brampton, Ontario. Looking at the mixed division. So what a nice, great high release backhand. And I believe there was 3 dark jerseys ready to hungry for that point, expecting that pass from their handlers. So great chemistry, great team chemistry on there.
Yeah, and the high release pass seems to be a bit more difficult than the rest. Speaking from experience, I feel like that's one of the hardest throws. And with the wind, it could also change the way it's thrown. So the fact that he was able to utilize their skills in throwing and scoring the end zone, maybe Soup could have poached a little bit more, which would have put a bit more pressure. However, that being said, That did not happen. And Force took a 4-force in the end zone, and they scored. And it's
That
a
was an
close game.
amazing sentence you just made. I'm jealous of that.
You're jealous of that, eh?
Of course, I am.
You gotta use it. We got some food and some Force.
There you go. So, getting back to business. Force making that pull, but it went out about 7 yards away from midfield. So quite a short pull. And now the wind is blowing. Number 77, Karen Chan Lim, feeding Keelan Way. Kinley G, number 55, forced backhand, going reset to Way, feeding number 16, Berkeley Davis. Great disc movement by now G, now Way. 5 yards away from a point. G going backhand, finding Lindquist on the break side, and it's a point. Soup securing their 3-point lead. It's 6-3 for the white jerseys.
Overall, Soup has kept it very clean in their offensive possessions, especially on that last play. The handlers are really working well with the give and go passes. You're looking at G and
I think it was a Keelan Way, number 8,
Keelan
with
Way.
exchange disc also. So great job by Soup handlers.
the energy may be more reserved on the sideline. However, the composure from this Soup team is demonstrated perfectly.
So timeout call. If I'm not mistaken, it's a second timeout call by Forced in this first half.
So it's in. What do you think? What is Force lacking or not lacking?
I believe, like, if you compare it to Soup's, like Soup, they move the disc very well, and doesn't allow the defense to set. Like I don't think that the stall have went any higher than 3 or 4, so that just shows how well they can move the disc, give them some option, always forcing the defense to adapt. So great offense rhythm, which Force has not been able to contain. And on the other end, Force, what can they do in order to close that 3-point gap? Well, first they will have to secure their O-line execution. We've seen it earlier while Soup was putting a zone defense. And once Force was able to put down that zone defense, in the transition of a man-to-man, there was some, very questionable decision of throwing a hammer cross field, which has proven not to be successful. So when you force the other team to transition from zone to man, you have to take advantage of that and just move the disc well and pay attention. Also, when you're in the red zone, Force have missed a few opportunities in the red zone so far. So I believe it's just a matter of execution, and still Force has not scored any break points. So their D-line will have to, as you very well mentioned earlier, to tighten up the person-to-person defense, because there's a lot of room which Soup is very well taking advantage of so far.
That was a very great analysis. Very great analysis.
Soup pulling. Great pull, 70 yards across the field. Force on the receiving end. See, that was very, very long before Force give themselves a first option, and there was tons of room on the open side. So they need to be quicker in taking advantage of these spaces. Number 12 with the disc, going break side, Carly Muntz. Disc is in the air. Lewis once again rocking the vertical so far in this game. He has won all his battle. Disc is in the air once again. 2 guys battling for it. And it's being well blocked by Force defender. I think it's Lamb.
Lamb it is.
number 9. Maybe Tyler Sadler. 24 now with the disc, Andrew Clark. Disc is in the air. Force looking to create some action, but it is landing, unfortunately, out of bounds. But Lewis was also in the surrounding, and considering is probably the tallest player on the field, and not only is he tall, but he has great reach. So you got to be careful when you put that disc floating in the air. If Lewis is hanging around, it will be challenged for sure. Trevor Henry, Soup's captain, going around the mark. Great disc movement. Henry still. That's number 11. Finding number 1, one of Spirit captain, Lena Rainich. Disc is floating. It's long. It's clean. And it's caught by Soup receiver, landing a 7th point in this game, taking a 4-point lead. And scoring a break point, their 4th of this first half. So what a great pass. It was caught by number 10, the captain, Trevor Henry. What a great communication, great pass with tons of spin into it. Was caught at the very end of the end zone.
It was a beautiful put in the end zone. You could tell that he was able to really run onto it and catch it. No problems there. Force seems to be hanging on their heels a little bit too much. The excitement at the beginning was great, and Soup has really taken charge of the last few minutes and have been able to dominate on the turnovers that Force has had.
And let's give some credit also to Soup. Very, very quick on the transition. They put the disc back into play very, very quickly, not allowing Force to set their defense or even their mark. So they're always in a catch-up mode, which is very, very difficult here on defense. Always running after your player. So Force looking for an answer. They're trailing by 4. Soup 1 point away from winning the first half. Lindquist with the pull. Amazing pull. Floating, long, hanging in there. Zone defense set by Soup. On the sideline. Resetting very well. 4 handlers hanging back for Force. Still earning quickly some yardage. There's a player all by herself. Oh, nice. She was very well open. Number 4, Bailey Davis, but a little too much angle on that long throw, which made it just about less than a foot out of reach.
Yeah, she was definitely there and saw it coming, but the angle, when it's coming in on an angle, it's very difficult to catch.
So really, Davis was forgotten there. Still Soup answering with a nice long pass. Oh! Tipped out of the receiver's hand. I think it's Daly. Oh, she hates herself, but she still smiling. But another turnover, quickly miscued by Force. 5 yards away from another break point, which would give Soup the halftime, which they are doing. Number 81 catching the disc. Owen Armstrong giving his team their 8th point of the game. It's now 8-3 for Soup. The white jersey is in the semifinal Canadian Ultimate Championship 2019 mixed division. We are trying to settle who will play against Lab in the final tomorrow, and so far Soup has taken a serious option on attending tomorrow's final. So Alicia, how can we summarize this first half?
Well, I think that Soup is coming out really strong, and they've definitely, like I said, taken advantage early, especially on that last possession. Daly was fingertips away from getting that bid disc, and I think what we've heard of Force is, like they said, they're forced to be reckoned with. There's so much time left in this game that who knows what they're going to come out with. Maybe they'll come out with a different defense. Maybe they'll be able to get more flow, and you can even tell when Soup was putting on that zone, they were moving the disc a lot quicker. So if they can bring in a bit of that momentum, they have no problem coming back in this game.
And you know, Force in the quarterfinal against Chaos, they've trailed all game long, and they brought it still at universal point, and they were able to win that quarterfinal in order to earn a spot in the semi. So let's not take that 5-point lead for granted. In the meantime, it's halftime. Only 35 minutes has been played in the semifinal. We'll take a short break. We will be right back. Stay tuned.
You and your family are diverse and unique. Our experienced optometrists and staff at Kodak Lens Vision Center focus on providing a personalized and unique experience to exceed all of your visual needs.
We are back. Second semi-final mixed division Canadian Ultimate Championship. We are in the beautiful city of Brampton with amazing facilities. Thanks to the city of Brampton for all its support in the logistic of making this event a very successful one. Speaking of success, so far in the second semi-final, Soup is the team who had the greatest success, taking an 8-3 lead, scoring 5 break point. Force still hunting down their first break point. I've been struggling with the disc, but for sure Soup is not taking them for granted. Force was able to create the upset in the quarterfinal, trailing all game long to finally win the game in Universal.
So we'll be able to see second half for Force. It seems to be a point where they come back and really hone in on their abilities to play second half games. And they may be a second half team, so maybe we'll see, like I said, we'll see some changes probably from the Force side, and who knows what can happen.
Disc is in the air. '77, Chan Lim. Now it's Lindquist putting it long. Target is number 25. Whoa! What a nice reading by number 25, Kirsten Dearden. Scuba throw. The target. Disc was in the air. There was some bumping. Obviously, Soup players say, hey, you fouled me. But it will not be contested. Kinley G was the victim of that bumping. No arms done, but still on the doorstep for the point. First point of the second half. Lindquist, G exchanging the disc. Finding their teammate. No call. I believe there might have been a pick call, but no. Number 25, Kirsten Dearden, making herself free in order to provide her team the 9th point of this game. Soup ahead by 6.
Yeah, that person-to-person defense in the end zone is pretty important. Of course, obviously, you're trying to protect the end zone so they don't score. I think if there was a call, then it definitely could have been said. All in doubt, make a call, even if it wasn't one. That's what I've been told before. So just maybe a lack of communication on the Force defensive side there, and Soup again took advantage of that.
Looking at Force body language. Some heads are down, some shoulders also are forward. So you need to rise up your head, rise up the chin, put the shoulder back. It's semi-final here in Brampton, mixed division.
You also got to remember, in semis, you got to have fun. This is like I said, you work so hard to get here, and you have to remember that Frisbee is also a lot of fun to play.
So Alicia, what are your thoughts? Maybe like Force, which had a great comeback in the quarterfinal, and when you win, when you trail all game long and figure out a way to win on Universal, how emotional and how proud can you be from this achievement? Can it drain too much energy, emotionally speaking, that you here in semi-final and cannot execute, while we're seeing number 10 scoring Soup 10th point? They're now 7 points ahead with their 6th break point of the game.
Yeah, like you were saying, and sometimes that may be it for Force in terms of what happened. That last game was huge for them coming into this semifinal game. And you're right, it could have been a bit draining, and I believe that sometimes you throw all your energy into a game because you're looking to win all games, and, you
just run short of
you run
gas.
short.
Right.
I mean, they have a really big roster, so also putting on some fresh legs, changing things up a bit, sometimes really changing things up too. And these types of games, when it's getting a bit more towards one side other than the other, it's not to say the game's not there, but coaches can throw in some maybe cutters into the handler's position and see how that works. And to, like I said, remember to have that fun, because, yes, you want to win, and you're never out of the game until it's over, but you got to have that fun.
One thing that's good for Force is there is still a ton of time. We're not even 45 minutes into the play, so this game is intended to last 90 minutes with the hard cap at 85. So with their experience in the quarterfinal, where they were to trail all game long, being able to recover late in the second half, tying this game, making it the universal point. They did it. Can they do it again? That's the question that we'll have an answer to in 45 minutes or so. Force, great swing pass. Great floaty disc to number 20, who was all by herself, Erica Robitaille, scoring the 4th point of Force, hanging 6 point shy of Soup in the semi-final. So that was the first point of Force. And if we look at the way the first half ended and the second half started, Soup has scored 5 points in a row. So that will give Force probably some relief to finally put an extra point on the scoreboard.
Yeah, that'll give them some momentum too going into defense. The effort and the amount of effort that you put into your offense, you also put into your defense. So if they can come out really strong on this defensive point, and maybe get a break point, that may change the flow of this game.
To your point, if Force can find a way to maybe score a break point, or maybe even 3 points in a row. That would bring the momentum back to Force's team in order to compete. But I might repeat myself, but there's a ton of time remaining on the clock. 45 minutes. So let's look at Force defense. How will they behave? The pull done by Matt Hofing. Great pull. Soup at their own brick mark. Floaty disc, Kinley G. Halfway on the court. Resetting. Oh, what a great little bit. What a great focus by O'Donnell, while we see the Force player just, I think he hurt himself by laying out, but then he retried to get back up. Number 23. It seems very, very painful. Brandon Lusty. He gets himself out of the field, but still, what a great layout bid, but great focus by O'Donnell. This was just tipped in the air, and O'Donnell recovering it. But still, great effort, great energy by number 23. Unfortunately, injured himself on the last play, but just maybe great inspiration for his teammate to play some hard, strong defense here.
And you hope that for Force.
G. Finding 11, Belavance. Disc is floating, and Belavance will confirm Force 11th point, confirming a 7-point lead. It's 11-4 for the white jerseys.
We talked about the Force defense being something to be aware of, and the energy of that bid brought out that, he was working. He was working to get that D, and like you said, O'Donnell was able to grab the disc and clean it up. And it's always hard when you have a player go down an injury. It's not something you want. I think the way that you can battle back with that is, you play for them. You play for that player that can't be on the field right now. So whatever that may be in terms of the team collectively, then that's what you do.
So for all the number fans out there, I gotta say it. I just can't keep it to myself. I know I'm gonna regret it, but the 10th point of Soup was scored by number 10. The 11th point of Soup, guess by what number was it scored? Number 11. So number 10 scored by number 10. Number 11 scored the 11th point. I just had to say it. So now it's out of my system. Let's get back to our business, our ultimate business. Soup in the driver's seat, leading by 7, 11-4. Second half, semi-final, mixed division, Brampton, Ontario. You are listening to the Canadian Ultimate Championship webcast. Thanks for being with us, and forgive our comment about Soup and about numbers.
Oh,
number 24,
my goodness.
catching that disc. Great grab by Andrew Clark. It was a pick call.
That was a great put as well by the captain.
Caitlin Lusty feeding her teammate Clark. It was a pick call. Force in the red zone. Resetting. Oh, miscued, unfortunately. Soup transitioning, taking their time. Chen Lim will put the disc back into play. Fading 23. Andrew Leo putting it long. It's floating. 4 women will battle for the disc. And Force winning this one, blocking. Great reading by the dark jerseys.
Davis was in the right spot there to make sure that they wouldn't score again.
Great cutting by Robertson, putting it long. A little too far away for number 4 was the intended receiver, Bailey Davis, but just slightly too long. even though Davis was clearly open. So great decision, but not so great execution by Robertson.
There's a timeout call here by Soup.
So I guess the point is getting longer and they might want to refine their execution. Alors on vous rappelle qu'on est en demi-finale de ce championnat canadien d'Ultimate édition 2019. C'est la division mixte, c'est la deuxième demi-finale de la journée. On vous rappelle que lors de la première demi-finale, c'était une demi-finale toute québécoise qui présentait Lab de Montréal contre Battleship de Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu. Lab s'est qualifié pour la grande finale qui aura lieu demain en après-midi, ici à Brampton. Et présentement, on tente de déterminer laquelle de ces deux équipes, Soup ou encore Force, deux équipes ontariennes, qui ira jouer contre Lab dans le but d'obtenir la médaille d'or de ce championnat canadien d'Ultimate édition 2019. Et l'équipe gagnante obtiendra l'initiative d'organiser l'équipe canadienne qui représentera le pays en 2020 lors des championnats du monde. Dans la division mixte, évidemment. Vertical stack by Soup. Tried to isolate number 3 going around the mark. Great cutting by Samuel Pera. Chan Lim offering herself as a target on the reset. Great disc movement by Soup once again, earning some yardage. Number 9 with the disc, Josh Marin. Disc always moving on the Soup end, not allowing the defense to set themselves or to trap on the sideline. Soup, number 25, going around the mark, feeding number 23, Andrew Leo, on the doorstep of a 12-point for Soup, looking for another break, while Force is still hunting down their first break of the point, which explained the 7-point separating those two teams. Great around pass again, number 16 with the disc. Berkeley Davis. And here it is. Soup, 12-point. Ahead by 8. Lots of time still, but 8-point apart. Soup being only 3 points from the victory, while Force 8-point short of just tying the game.
Yeah, we gotta give Force a little bit of credit. Their defense, their person-to-person defense seemed to be a bit tighter on the last possession. There was no open in the end zone Soup players, so it's putting a little bit of pressure on them. It did not seem to even phase Soup as they were able to complete and score another point for their lead.
We just received a note from Andrew Batcher, which acts as the competitive director for the Canadian Championship. And he'd like to highlight that for Team Canada players' application for Worlds 2020, your submissions are due no later than September 2nd for all divisions. So get ready to fill out the forms. Get ready for tryouts, because there will be some tryouts for sure. So each team qualifying has to take a minimum of 7 players that are outside of their regions. So opening opportunities for teams that have not won, for players that have not won the Canadian Championship, to take part in the great competition that is World Championship in 2020. So Force looking for resolution against Soup. Zone defense, miscued. Number 99 with a flick, 91. Wallace Jang with a high release flick. Unfortunately miscuing with his resets. Soup in the red zone. Vertical stack. Lewis with the disc. Looking to attack around, which he finds a way to do so, but just slightly out of reach for number 24, Jerry Uwan.
What a great effort there that was.
Nice layout. Great effort.
Great effort. Effort that matters. It's the effort.
But unfortunately, the greatness of your effort, if you don't catch the disc, well, it's a turnover. Soup still blocking with their very efficient zone. Just denies Force opportunity to move the disc around. And once again, is it number 24? No, it's number 7 now that just could not get a hold. Lucy Chow. Unfortunately. So Force will come back with their zone defense. They've been able to totally shut down Force. But great pass. Getting out of trouble for Force. Looking for some momentum here. Moving the disc along. Soup transitioning to a person-to-person defense. Force quickly earning some yardage. 4 yards away from the end zone. And they are completed, but hold on. Advisor have both of their hands in the air, but not confirming holding it. I think there was a pick call. Maybe I think it's both number 13.
A little bit of congestion in that end zone, which happens often. When you're looking in the end zone, we tend to stick beside each other.
Great flick, high release by number 91. Wow, Wallace Jang finding his teammate on the break side. Force scoring their 5th point of the game. Still 7 points behind Soup. So the first half was won by Soup 8-3. And so far in the second half, Soup has scored 4 points, while Force only scored twice.
You can even see there that some of the skills that are coming out of Soup, some experiences of players there. We got Daly, who's just been a great offensive and defensive player, and G and Lewis on the defensive and the offensive end. Overall, they have a good range of experience and just, you could say, depth in terms of their skill.
Alors, on le mentionnait tout à l'heure, là, Andrew Batchelor, qui est le directeur compétitif là, pour Ultimate Canada, désire communiquer à tous les joueurs qui sont intéressés à prendre part aux essais pour prendre part aux équipes canadiennes, peu importe la division, que ce soit masculin, féminin ou encore mix. Vous devrez soumettre vos applications avant le 2 septembre au plus tard, et ça pour toutes les divisions. Alors, si vous désirez prendre part aux essais qui auront lieu là, un peu partout au pays pour former l'équipe canadienne pour les championnats du monde de 2020. Alors, le 2 septembre est la date encerclée sur votre calendrier, ou encore à mettre en note dans votre calendrier Google. Soup looking for their 13-point. Lindquist with the disc now. He was fed by Chen Lim, who is attacking the line, but Lindquist is resetting to Wei. Finding O'Donnell. 2 Phoenix teammates. Now it's G, another ex-Phoenix player. Chen Lim, 77. Going break side, finding O'Donnell. What a great break pass here, but there's a travel call. Chen Lim might not be the tallest women player on the field, but for sure she has some grits. Going break side. Unfortunately, it seems she had travel on this last attempt.
On her extension, I think that back foot, that pivot foot just went up just a bit. Enough for the opponent to make a call, for sure.
We're reaching out to the observers, and we're confirming there was a travel call. So for those who are new to the sport, when you're holding the disc, you cannot run with it. You have to establish a pivot foot. And if you drag or lift that pivot foot, the opponent can call a travel. Force tipping the disc away, but no, it stays inside. And number 6 securing the point, Berkeley Davis, was there, and she showed some resiliency, and she caught the disc, giving her team their 13th point, 8 points ahead of Force, which had scored only 5 points in this game. 2 of them were in the second half, first 3 being in the first half.
That's a good defensive effort in the end zone there by Force. When you're in the end zone and you got the disc, always catch your Ds.
Always catch your Ds. Very well said, Alicia.
Catch your Ds. It's we tend to, do it once and we don't catch it and the other team scores and then you're like, oh, okay, so I'm never going to do that again. That's one of those moments. Hopefully that's recognized and definitely not done a second time.
As far as I'm concerned, I've said that a few times in my so-called ultimate career. Oh, I'm never going to do that again. I've said it a couple of times for the same thing, so hopefully I'm not the only one who it happened to. But it's not about us. It's about Soup and Force in this semi-final Canadian Ultimate Championship Mixed Division. Great pull by Soup, going over 75 yard long. Zone defense, which has proven successful. Just holding back Force O-line, going hammer, try to find a resolution to this zone defense. Still no rhythm from Force on offense. Great shutting down by the white jerseys. Catching the disc by number 22, doesn't wait to be up to feed his teammate in order to get some momentum on that disc. That's what Force is creating. Transition to a person-to-person defense. Number 91 with the disc, Wallace Jiang. Putting the disc in the air. It's floating and it's being caught by number 40. Tons of relief for Force. Peter Alusis catching the disc, scoring his team 6th point. It's 13-6 for Soup in the semifinal.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see a little bit of a lag coming in from Soup. Force has been able to capitalize on the few last points, and it starts with number 5. She was stretching, and she was almost in the end zone. And when there is a zone, to be able to stretch the field, it helps.
Of course.
And I think that's what helped score that point, because she was just sitting in that end zone, and there was no one necessarily near her. Not saying that she wasn't necessarily a threat, but she was able to bring everything back, which brought the defense to just go back a bit more, and they were able to work the disc up and score.
So great execution by Force, which was able to put the disc behind Soup's wall with a hammer throw. But we haven't seen Force like crashing in the cup also. When you crash in, sometimes it creates some confusion on defense and you might just earn a few yardage, but it has the disc moving and increases the pressure on the wall, which has not only the focus on making sure, paying attention to whoever has the disc, but also have to make sure that they are shutting down whoever's crashing in. So great option on offense when you have to deal against a wall defense or zone defense. Chan Lim going break side to Lindquist. Lindquist going under, feeding her teammate Ramich. Ramich force flicked, looking for Lindquist on reset. Lindquist going break to G, but it's just slightly out of reach. Great bid by G, going horizontal in hopes to catch at this, but out of reach. Force with a break opportunity. Disc is in the air. 87 opening themselves up. Matt Hoffing calling a timeout. Great call by Hoffing. He's about, 10 yards away from the end zone. Force still hunting down their first break point in the semifinal. They're trailing by 7 still, but a break point would be a great starting point in order to start a comeback.
Yeah, that was a beautiful put. I think the miss bid by G, just a bit too far out of his reach. definitely gave Force a bit more advantage, and now they're in contending for the end zone for a point. And the last 3 possessions, it's been really in Force's hands. So like we said, they're a second half team, and they've already shown that a little bit.
We're 65 minutes into the semifinal. Hard cap horn will be heard at 85 minutes. So 20 minutes, at least 20 minutes remaining. 7 points, 20 minutes. So that's a point, approximately a point every 3 minutes. So that's pretty short time. So time is on Soup's hands, and so is the scoreboard. Soup is only 2 points away from winning this game. Denied by G.
He definitely had to work back for that last bid, even though he wasn't in contention to catch it. He needs to get that defense.
Great work by G. Lindquist. Going swing to Henry, number 16. Nice pass up the line. The handler giving some direction, but miscued with Lindquist. Lindquist was going up the line while G expected him to stay just underneath. Force with another break opportunity, putting the disc in the space. It's floating. Oh, great effort. I believe it's by number 16, but still very tightly defended by number 1, Ramich. G to Keelan Way. Long pass back end. No receivers, unfortunately.
Yeah, that one, it was a good look. I think Ramich was a bit too far and wasn't prepared for that long throw deep. She had a few more steps and a bit of time. She would have been able to get there.
Offing with the disc, putting it long. Out of reach, unfortunately. Number 91 was the target, Wallace Jang.
So we're starting to see those risky, long, deep throws in the end zone. Right now there's been no completions on those risky throws, but it's semifinals. So you're going to see that coming in the second half.
G calling a timeout. 90 seconds in order to get Soup their execution together, which they have been not successful to, at least in the last point. But looking at the scoreboard, when you're leading by 7, you must have done something right, which Soup has done plenty of. On vous rappelle que c'est la demi-finale division mixte championnat canadien d'Ultimate ici à Brampton, Ontario. Une bataille toute ontarienne. Chandail foncé. Équipe qui s'appelle Force, qui joue contre les chandails blancs, qu'on appelle Soup. Alors les deux équipes ont remporté leur quart de finale un peu plus tôt aujourd'hui. Force ayant créé la surprise en défaisant Chaos sur un point universel, alors que Force a tiré derrière tout au long du match et a trouvé une façon de créer l'égalité en toute fin de match et de remporter le match par la suite. Et Soup qui a aussi remporté son quart de finale. Et d'après ce qu'on a pu comprendre, côté esprit sportif, le quart de finale qui opposait Soup à Union, deux équipes ontariennes aussi. L'esprit sportif aurait laissé à désirer, semble-t-il. On n'en a vu aucune trace aujourd'hui dans cette demi-finale, alors tant mieux. Alors Soup, at their own goal line, looking to earn some yardage. Chan Lim, the disc got picked up by the wind, but it was quite what I would like to call a creative throw. Maybe there were other options. Still Force hunting down their first break point on the doorstep. Their third attempt for their first break point here today. And just got outside of the end zone. Number 27, there was a pick call. So great cut in by Sophie Prost. But it was cut in actually, confirmed by the observers. So Force, they waited a long time, but number 27 giving The black jerseys, their first break point of this semi-final. Still Force trailing by 6 with a little over 15 minutes, I'd say, before the horn, which will signal the hard cap.
Well, we've definitely seen a different second half Force. Force has definitely started the game really well. Soup picked it up with some great offense, and then they were caught on their heels. In this second half, after the halftime, I think they've cleaned things up a lot more, and they're showing a bit what they have and what they've been working for. So I think that's really good for them.
Taking a few seconds so Ultimate Canada can thank their partners into the success of the CUC 2019. So the City of Brampton, great support logistic for the field and everything to make this event a great event. Also Cliff Bar, the official nutrition partner of CUC 2019. Very tasty food provided by Cliff Bar. And let's not forget Discraft, the official disc provider of Ultimate Canada and CUC 2019. So thanks to all the partners, all the volunteers, all the staff. Sebastian managing very well this camera, which is now the biggest Ultimate fan in the country. 61 O'Donnell going long, very well fed by number 11 Joel Bellavance. Great flick pass. O'Donnell hunting down that disc, securing for Soup 14th point.
Way to connect on that play. I mean, the wind has definitely picked up, and the spin that he put on that disc to connect with O'Donnell in the end zone, it was perfect.
You see by the flag, the wind going from the right-hand side towards the left-hand side. So obviously it was a downwind point. While we've seen those flag going more from the left on the right for the last 2 days. But if there's any justice in this world, is that the weather is the same for everybody. So
rain or shine or wind, you play through it.
And everybody who attended Edmonton single gender CUC last weekend can tell you about it. I personally was not in Edmonton, but I heard so much about it. But I was in Waterloo a few years ago, and it was just a lot of people compare it to what you have experienced to Edmonton. So it's not a matter, oh, we had the best weather for. That's not the point. I'm just saying I'm very supportive of what Edmonton's folks have experienced last week. So whatever the weather forecast, when you play Ultimate, it's always sunny outdoors. So Force with the disc. They need to line up a few points here in order to make this game a closer one. They're trailing by 7. Soup 1 point away from confirming their spot in the gold medal game, which will be hosted tomorrow. And yes, it will be webcast. Do not worry. Myself and Alicia will have the great pleasure of sharing this webcast with all of you. Wherever you are, whatever you do, thanks for being with us, either live or tuning in the game later on today or tomorrow, whenever. Soup in control, moving the disc well, giving themselves some option. Bellavance with the disc, looking upward, changes his mind, goes sideways. Bava feeding Bellavance, who made that dumb pass but now offers himself as a swing, feeding Lewis. Number 3, Pava. Call on the play. Everybody stops moving. Very quickly, resolute. The disc will be back live right now at the brick mark. 1 point away. Soup looking to close this game. Unfortunate drop by Ramich. Force with the disc. Forced back in. Attacking the line, but it's reset to number 25, Caitlin Lusty, the captain of Force. She had a great game today.
She did.
Even though I'm sure the output was not what she expected, but still showed a great grit. Disc is in the air, it's floating. Number 16 was the target, Anna Prost. But definitely out of reach.
And those last two puts in the end zone, the disc is just dropping really quickly. I think they're good looks, but the wind is catching up to them.
Lewis, floaty disc. Great bid by number 25, the captain. Lusty, but just a little too high for a reach. And good focus by number 16 from Soup. Berkeley Davis kept her focus on the disc, even though there was some pressure from her opponent. There's a travel call. Pava. The disc will go back to number 3. Disc is in. The force is flick. Disc is in the air. Number 11 catching the disc. Joël Bellavance. And that will be it. Soup just earning themselves a ticket to the final of this 2019 Mixed Division Canadian Ultimate Championship 2019. So will be a battle. Lab versus Soup will fight tomorrow for the gold medal, while Battleship and Force, one game to be played tomorrow, they will be playing for the bronze medal. So Alicia, what's your insight? What explained that Soup was so successful, winning 15-7 in the semifinal?
It was their energy at the beginning of the game, the composure that they had throughout, and their flow in offense. I think that was really taken great advantage of. They were able to capitalize on almost all of their points, and they just seem to work. They're a smaller group, but everyone seems to have played together at one point, and they were able to connect with each other, especially when it came to scoring in the end zone.
So to your point, Alicia, so Force and Soup have been exchanging points. So was it 1-1, 2-2, and then after that, Soup just took over, scoring 6 of the last 7 points in the first half. And after that, that was it. They just rambled on and confirmed their dominance and earning this point in the final, which will be webcast tomorrow. So we have one last appointment here today. The Master Mixed Division featuring Cole from Quebec City against Flux from Calgary will happen in about, let's say, 40 minutes from now. So this is our next appointment. Un prochain rendez-vous sera dans une quarantaine de minutes. Ce sera la grande finale de la division Mix Master qui présentera Cole de la très belle ville de Québec. Il sera opposé à Flux de Calgary et l'équipe de Flux qui présente quelques joueurs québécois que vous allez sûrement reconnaître. Ça nous fera plaisir de vous les présenter. Alors, c'était Étienne Fournier avec Alicia Racine. So we'll talk to you in about 40 minutes. So thanks for being with us. Talk to you soon.